But I have something. Now, we're gonna switch things up now. I just went on Instagram and we're gonna do something right now. Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon used to be the owner of the WWE. What I just seen on Instagram was this. Vince McMahon allegedly defecated on a woman's head during a threesome, forcefully using sex toys on her, including dildos he named after WWE wrestlers, causing her bruising and bleeding. This soft white underbelly video, it really does shine light on the darkness that happens outside of our view. And it is a way to understand a lot about reality in society. So, without further ado, we're going to have to look this one up because I did not have this one initially on the playlist. Search. Beautiful. Found it. It's Vice. This is a glimpse into the reality of our society now. There are rich, filthy, elitist people, government, celebrities, and just even rich people who want to stay out of the limelight, and that's the most. Rich people who are not famous, who are not government, who are just everyday regular people like you and I, but you just don't know. There is a soft underbelly of society that is so dark and decrepit. I'm gonna show you guys what is the truth. And we're going to do this right now.
The hotel industry is a wild experience that helps you understand how disconnected the wildly wealthy are. I've seen the darker side of humanity: suicides, murders, spousal abuse, human trafficking. That shit stays with you for a long time. One weekend, a large group of around 60-ish people, they wanted to purchase out the entire hotel so they could just turn it into a giant orgy. The cost of that property was upwards of $250,000 for 2 nights at a time. That says you've got money to spend. They left a nightmare room. Blood, feces, semen stains. One of my bellboys came up and was like, "I've got a black light, I'm curious." He turned it on, and I remember we looked down and saw all the stains. We looked to the sides and saw them on the wall. At one point in the bathroom, we looked up and saw them all on the ceiling, and we were just like, how do you do this? This is not human. Were you on the ceiling? I worked as an operations manager for around 10 plus years. I've worked in hotels where the average daily rate is anywhere from like $99 and then all the way up to boutique properties where the average cost is around $1,400 per night. In general, the higher up that price value, the more common it is to be treated like you're less than human. The people who are coming to visit you, famous pop stars, Russian oligarchs, they have a private plane that they get in a private vehicle with all tinted blackout windows. Sometimes they have security squads. They'll snap their fingers at them. Very large sense of entitlement where if they approach the desk, they are the only thing that exists to you in that moment. And that's what they came to expect from that level of entering a luxury hotel. Most people who visit boutique hotels are not coming for business. They're there for pleasure. There was a group of fabulously wealthy individuals. You can definitely get a sense of how much wealth they actually have when they're talking about things like buying a fleet of Boeings in the lobby casually. They would buy out this entire property. They were spending as much as a luxury wedding, and it was basically a giant swingers orgy. We'd have people having sex in the pool, people laying on our wine bars naked, a couple having sex on a balcony in plain view. So you're looking up at it, quite an angle. And every single room would have a different theme and a safe word posted outside of the door. The one that stands out to me was there was a mermaid-themed room. It was actually kind of impressive, the details they went, so it was very like under the sea vibe. There was the Wild West room. There was the straight-up BDSM room. One couple we had to talk to, while they were naked, they would purposely wait to start having sex until housekeeping wanted to clean the room. They wanted somebody to watch. The day after they had all departed, I got a call from housekeeping saying that one of the showers is busted, and I go take a look at it, and they had hacksawed off the actual shower piece, the shower head, and attached a 4-foot long anal probe hose to it, with multiple settings on the other end. And that was as disgusting as you can imagine. After all of the drama and mental scarring that we put up with for this orgy buyout group, probably between about 30 staff, I want to say we made $20 in tips. I found myself on more than one occasion getting stuck in awkward situations between husbands, their lovers, and then the actual wife. The worst case scenario was husband and wife shared credit cards naturally, and she started seeing the hotel show up on the books, and she stormed in and like slammed bank statements down. It's like, I know my husband's here. You guys are lying to me. We have to just say, you know what? I'm so sorry. We don't have anyone here by this name. And meanwhile, we can literally hear them having sex upstairs. Apparently, she didn't notice. The sounds were familiar to her, which might be a sad statement on their marriage, actually. The problem with working with the fabulously wealthy is that they often assume that the staff is there at their beck and call regardless of what the request is. It was really common for the high rollers to approach attractive staff members and essentially just ask them, hey, if I pay you X amount of dollars, will you meet me in my room later tonight and fuck my brains out? That's a quote from someone, sadly. We had a very busty, gorgeous front desk woman at one hotel, and someone came down and then offered her quite a bit of money.
Hang on. I just have to say this because this is the second time. This is the second time hearing this. And the first time, you always hear something the first time is like super salacious, and it's like you can't do anything but hear it. So you only get your first guard of like looking at what you're seeing and like, is it real or not? Now, only slightly am I watching this a second time and I'm like, is this dude lying or not right now? Or just like his vocabulary, the way he's speaking is just so fluent and it's almost very perfect like a script almost. But if it would be a script, it would be a perfect script. If it would be a script, it would be a perfect script, and it would be a perfect script for this said person's personality. Whereas like every word is just flowing straight off of the tongue. And maybe that just might be my own problems because I'm not very versed with the dictionary or the encyclopedia of every single word that's ever been in creation. But I think I like to call myself a good talker, but I know at the same time I'm also a terrible motherfucking speaker. So maybe that just might be my flaw. So I'll say that. But the second time seeing it is just, I'm just questioning now. Is this true or is this real? Is this a script? Is this just trying to be salacious? Is this just a Vice? Is this Vice bullshit? Or is this dude serious?
In front of management, and at the moment she naturally declined. I have security cameras in all the halls, and seeing that person sneak out around 2 a.m. was definitely a little suspicious. The most shocking example was an incident where the wedding was around 2 p.m.
I'm sorry.
We had a very dusty, gorgeous front desk woman at one hotel, and someone came down and offered her quite a bit of money in front of management. And at the moment, she naturally declined. I have security cameras in all the halls, and seeing that person sneak out around 2 a.m. was definitely a little suspicious. The most shocking example was an incident where the wedding was around 2 p.m.-ish that day. Come nightfall, one of our event staff slept with the wife and ended up getting caught. It turned into quite a big deal with screaming and shouting and all this stuff. He hid in a bathroom in a supply closet until the heat died down, and then he just walked into the front office and clocked out like nothing ever happened. His mom happened to be in charge of events, so she made sure he didn't get terminated. The demographics of the staffs who work at hotels are usually pretty evenly split. If you're an attractive white person who speaks English quite well, you're probably going to be reservations, front desk, something visual. If you're not of that ethnicity, just because they have an accent and that might not present well to your guests, your most likely bet is that you're going to get placed in housekeeping. If you're working at a decent property, you could probably get $10 to $15 an hour as a front desk host. If you're housekeeping, you're maybe getting 9 to 10. It was wildly unfair. We were actually advised to handle our housekeeping teams under the concept of divide and conquer, telling them, oh, well, so-and-so's team's much better than yours. You should really try to keep up with the Mexican team. It creates that toxic environment. This prevented the entire housekeeping team from uniting together and presenting concerns. And I saw that kind of model in multiple hotels. In retrospect, I can safely say that the hours they made me work, the wild situations you'd run into, it's a miracle that I never got in a really bad car accident commuting. It slowly burns you out in a way that you can't explain until you are out of it. You just kind of know something's wrong and you're not happy. The biggest thing that the public doesn't understand about the hotel industry is that there are wild things happening behind closed doors every single day. Fabulously wealthy individuals are wild. Everything happens behind closed doors at hotels.
So, no, wait. No. That's not the end. That's not the end of it. If yeah. Flight attendant reveals secrets of a job, sex, drugs, death, billionaires, mega yachts. He stated that he stated that he described one of these hotel sex parties, and that ish was the wildest crap I've ever heard in my life. He stated that there was like there was semen on the ceilings, and these rich elitist assholes just like.
So I'm a background on CTO.
Alright, so
I basically get paid to travel around the world working for billionaires. From the Instagram and Snapchat stories, everyone seems to think that you've got the coolest job in the world. The reality of it is that you are clearing up rooms that have just had sex parties, orgies, prostitutes, coke residue on the tables the next day, veal or livestock so fresh that it actually gets flown in on a helicopter, is slaughtered on board, and served to the guests as fresh as can be. Unfortunately, it can sometimes get a bit seedy, a bit creepy with drunk people who think they can do whatever they want. These owners, these millionaires, these billionaires, they're incredibly powerful people, and a lot of the time they get their own way. Drug smuggling can go on in the industry. If people wanted to be moving, drugs and illicit substances, I reckon it'd be pretty easy to do. It's an incredibly secretive world, which no one really knows much about. The guests just use CP yachts as their little playground. They live in this little bubble where they think anything goes and anything can happen.
super yacht deck can. So
these yachts are always pretty mad, particularly the larger ones. They will pretty much always contain a pool or some sort of hot tub.
Just don't mind me 1 second, but if you're a YouTuber like me, you probably had seen a little scene of like a Logan Paul, Jake Paul on a certain Amazon owner's yacht in the middle of the ocean. This is what they do. The last video was about these rich billionaire elitists, oligarchs, and everything. They will rent out a hotel to have their crazy sex parties When they're not renting out hotels, they're on their yachts in the middle of the ocean, in international waters, in Jeffrey Epstein's island, doing whatever they want because they're demons.
With a gym, some of them have cinemas, some of them have their own spas, helidecks, and will store a helicopter on board. The cost of these yachts can exceed anywhere of like £500 million. I think some of the most expensive charter yachts on the market at the moment can actually cost $4 million a week. You do always secretly know that the people you're working for haven't always done the best things in their lives. I've received job offers for the owner of a boat who is one of the most notoriously corrupt people on the planet. And during the job interview, the chief officer actually asked me, am I morally okay with who this person is and what he's done? And you kind of just have to ask yourself, am I okay with this? The expectations of the guests are pretty much whatever they ask for, we can deliver to them. As the day tends to go on and the more alcohol that gets consumed, their expectations go up and our ability to deliver goes down. Sexual harassment definitely does go on in the industry. You do hear quite a few stories which make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. There is a sexual element to the job 100%. It's a very superficial industry that a lot of boats will only hire on the way you look and what waist size you are, what chest size you are, etc. I think they can forget that you're here for work, you're not here to be violated in any way. The victims of these cases are paid off. They're told to keep their mouths shut in order for like bonuses or perks. It gives the people this right to think that they can get away with anything. There have been like a few serious incidents in super yachting that have gone wrong and actually led to fatalities. One of the most famous ones in the industry was actually a anchor chain coming loose. The chain spun around in what's called the mooring bay, which is the part of the forward section of the boat called the bow. The chain spun around and actually took the leg off one of the officers, and unfortunately he bled to death and died. Basically, you just got to stay really switched on at all times, which can be a big part of the reason why working in the industry.
You want to know something? It may be a very unpopular opinion, but nigga, if that shit were to wrap around my leg and my leg got ripped off my body, please, please let me die to death. Please, please let me die. Just let me die.
It can make you so tired and run down. I did like a pretty long stint working on a charter boat. It was like nearly 130 days of season back-to-back charters, and within that time we only had one day off. At the end of that, when I actually left that boat, I felt like I was ready to leave the industry because it was just killing me essentially. You can burn out really quickly, and you can look at guys who are, they've been in yachting for 10 years or so and they look pretty weathered. Their skin's like destroyed by the sun. The lack of sleep has just fucked them over, and it can really have quite a physical effect on your body, and it's pretty visible. And the reason that we're so busy is because obviously we only have a certain number of crew cabins on board. You're always in a cabin of 2, if not 4 on some bigger boats, and if not like 6 on some super large ones. Cabin fever is definitely a real thing. You can feel cooped up like a caged animal sometimes, and personal space becomes a serious issue. Working in yachting definitely teaches you a lot of mental fortitude. You work very long hours with little rest, and that teaches you how to be resilient and just kind of push on through. Obviously there are some negative effects on your mental health. I don't really understand the mindset of a billionaire, but when a lot of money is involved, it changes people, and I think it always brings out the worst in a lot of people's personalities.
They gotta be the end. Bruv, okay. Alright, so what the hell is that? Hey, look, hey, oops. Look, hey, look, guys, hey, YouTube, guess what? You have to be good for yourself, You can't just do that to people, Alright, there's a lot to go over. Listen, let me just let the puppy out of the. Come on, there you go. Go on, go play, go torture the cat. Go torture the cat. I love you. Okay, so, bro. So he let it known a little bit about what happens in these positions that the rich, the filthy rich, what they have at their oyster, what they have in their hands, the power, the capability, the access that they have. And the access that they have also makes life horrible for some who have to work for them. And it's actually it's something about it where it's like I'm really not surprised. Just like slavery, where it's just a modern day slavery, where it's a slavery of classes. It's a slavery of classes. It's like if you are a blue collar worker, you are someone's stepping stool mentally. Mentally. It's not actual. It's what they have in their own mind that they are above you. That like you are underneath them. It's a classist mind state. And it's truly sad. It's something that we all as working class citizens have to go through, and it's horrible. Even in work, we go to work on a regular, most of us, we go to work and it's, we're paid what they tell us. We're not paid what we're worth. For example, teachers aren't paid what they're worth. Teachers are molding and shaping the minds of the future. They're shaping the minds of our future because the children are our future. And it's like there are multiple people who do treat it as such. They give their children everything. The children is their absolute world. And those are the amazing parents who put their children as like the oyster of their world. They put absolutely everything into them. But the sad thing is there are a lot of people who that did not happen to, and those people turn out to be the destruction of the world if they do not choose to be the light of the world. And it's very sad. It's very, very sad. Well, now let's switch topics because that's very deep. And this may be very deep as well.
I can make a song talking about how dope I am. If that's what you want, you can go and check me, man. Right off your iTunes, you choose your records, friend. If you wanna hear the echoes that surrounds my den, you should speak softly. Suppress my thoughts, should have made in the words. Carry 'em, make 'em in the verbs. Lights, camera, action.